Is this really it? That's the question I ask myself every time in my life where things seem to go wrong, where I'm feeling unfulfilled, I'm feeling unhappy, or I'm feeling somewhat unsatisfied. Now, it might not be these exact words, it might be something along the lines of, is this really what I want to do? Is that really what's going to make me happy? So the words might vary, but the reason they come up is always the same. It's because I don't have a clear motivation anymore. I don't have the why that is really driving me. Now, don't get me wrong, it usually starts with a strong why. So to make this a bit more specific, let's pick an example. 2 years ago, I decided to have a kickboxing fight. I was very scared of doing it. That motivated me. So I had a strong why. And because I had this strong why, it was easy for me to wake up and go train. Most days, whenever I could make it happen with my work, I would train twice. And sometimes I even tried to train 3 times a day. Why? Because I had a strong reason, something that gave me this feeling that this is what I want, that helped me prioritize it over everything else in life. So when we have a very strong why, when we have something that guides us, that comes from an external situation where we want something, it creates that internal reaction where all of a sudden we feel motivated. The problem is, at least in my case, it's a problem. It might not be a problem for everyone, but in my case, what often ends up happening is I have this why, and because I have this strong why, I start doing a lot of things in my life that become habitual. But at some point, the why, the initial reason for doing it kind of fades. So, for example, with this kickboxing fight, I ended up having the fight. After the fight, I continued training because that just became part of who I was. It became part of my life. And a couple months in, so my fight was in February, and in the summer, August, I took some time off training. I reduced my training intensity. I only trained 2 or 3 times a week. And it felt like something was missing. I didn't really enjoy it as much anymore. And I thought that maybe it's because I'm not training as much. Right? That made sense. I really enjoyed myself when I was training pretty much every single day, multiple times a day. So why not go back to this? So that was one of the reasons why I ended up deciding, hey, let's do 75 hard, train twice a day, go super hard until Christmas. The reality is that without a strong why, that drive is not going to come back. You might have a strong willpower and get yourself to do it. That's what I'm very good at. I'm extremely good at getting myself to do things I don't really feel like doing, which really helps. Don't get me wrong. If you can get yourself to do stuff that you don't want to do, knowing that it will give you some sort of reward later on, so-called delayed gratification, your life will be a lot better than that of most people. But the problem is you might have a life that looks great on the outside, where you have a lot of things or a lot of achievements that other people don't have. But if you don't have a reason why you're doing what you're doing, you will essentially end up feeling unfulfilled at one point or another. And if you're still watching this video, I'm going to guess that you are feeling unfulfilled or unsatisfied where you're at. So what you want to do is bring back the why. And if you can do that, if you can figure out why you're doing what you're doing, you will feel the drive again. You will be motivated to do it. But what's most likely going to happen is that the why is not going to come back, and you will have to find a different why. Something that creates the drive in you, something that gives you a mission, something that you can actually do, that you want to do, that you want to be great in, that you want to put your energy in, that you will feel like it gives you the reward that you're looking for. Now, what I always realize with these things is it all starts with understanding what your values are and what your vision are. And I've talked about this multiple times. I'm just going to link one video here where I go into how to actually do it. It's part of my paid program, and I put this part on YouTube, so I'm going to link it here because I think that this should not be behind a paywall. Every human being should know how to do this. Okay, sorry, I was getting a little bit warm here. Now it feels a lot better. Why do we always look for purpose? Why do we need this sense of purpose? Why do we need a why? The thing is that you might be very good at just getting stuff done, and that's a great asset, like I just mentioned. But what I realize is that if you don't have a strong why that gives you a sense of purpose, you will always feel somewhat empty. And I believe that is something that might be a masculine thing, so it might not apply to women in the same way. But every time I watched the movie Fight Club, every time I've seen it, and I've seen it multiple times throughout my life, it really reminded me of exactly this. It is this man who has an existential crisis because he loses his purpose. He doesn't really have a purpose anymore, and he finds life empty. And then he creates purpose in this mission to change the world, to help other men leave this feeling of emptiness behind and become better human beings. And I'm not saying that what he's doing is right, but I can understand the emotions that come from it. I can understand every time I watch the movie Fight Club, I can understand where he's coming from. And if we can understand where the main character in Fight Club is coming from emotionally, and we can relate to how it's a release to create Project Mayhem for him or to create some other project, right? This is where it comes from. If we can find a project for us, whatever that is, that actually drives you, that motivates you, this will create fulfillment, not the chase of some external goal that somebody told you should be chasing or some external goal that other people like. What matters is what you want in your life, right? And it's stupid because if you're watching this video, if you're following my stuff, you're probably somebody that knows what they want in general and that has been quite good at pursuing it. But for some reason, you still think about what other people think about you. You think about what it might say about you if people hear you do something or see you make a certain decision or see you fail. And that is because of this internalized shame and fear. And that's a bit of a different topic, so I don't want to go too deep into this here. But the reality is, as long as you don't go for something that is truly you, as long as we, and I'm just going to include myself into this discussion, as long as we don't do something that is truly in line with who we are as a person, that is truly in line with what we value and who we are, there's no chance for us to become fulfilled. There's no chance for us to have purpose, because purpose cannot be borrowed. Borrowed purpose that is given to you by other people, will never give you the feeling of being fulfilled. You might feel fulfilled for a while if it's one of your values to help others, to serve, and somebody else gives you the opportunity to serve. You might feel fulfilled, you might. But if that is not one of your core values, you won't. You need your own purpose. You need your own purpose that is aligned with your own value system. On that note, I'm going to end today's video. Take charge of your life. Be the person you're meant to be instead of being the person that society is giving you the opportunity to be. You don't want to be what society tells you you should be. You don't want to be what you are right now if you're feeling unfulfilled, if you're feeling unsatisfied.